Were you, or were you not, on a gay cruise?
No, you're 120% dick pic.
Everybody that age, they're sperminator.
Yeah.
We don't care about anything else. We're a walking hard on looking for a hole.
That's. I have to say you're right on that one. Oh, my God.
A stiff breeze comes through the room and you return the favor.
Gonorrhea. No. Somewhere on the outside of this building, there is a hole where squirrels come in.
Better than a hole where dicks come in.
Yeah, better than that.
Going down the stairs to wash the laundry. What the hell? Shh. Pizza. Stop it now. I order you to stop. I'm still touching myself.
Yeah!
All young bitches want to do is pop pills, smoke weed, get drunk, lay around, suck dick, eat hot Cheetos, charge they phone, get a sew and weave, twerk, be bisexual, eat McDonald's, wash they pussy in the sink, lie, take selfies, and talk shit through Wi-Fi because they phone never on.
I think washing they pussy in the sink is my favorite part. The Vietnamese trade in dongs. Figuratively and literally, I'm sure.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious.
I did decide to look it up. 500,000 dongs is a good night for Pop's ex.
Like most women, he's an emotional thinker.
Good God.
I mean, that's part of the problem we're having now in our society is we have a bunch of emotional thinkers that want the world to, to fall in line with their emotions. That's not... look, reality doesn't give a shit about emotions.
It's my lived truth. Fuck your lived truth.
No, it's not. It's your perspective.
Kiss my ass.
Literally like, hey, Sergeant Pop, you got to turn your bear suit. I'm like, over my dead body. No. Just give me a statement of charges. Yeah. You're never getting this back. Yeah. You can suck it.
I'm going to wear this with my Russian coat.
you will bury me in this. Hey! Why you gotta fucking be like that, man?
Because I'm an asshole, and I learned from the best. I'm sitting across from him, and I'm pointing at you with all four fingers.
All right, first of all, the Russian jacket is World War II surplus.
I'll send you a picture of it, Sarge.
Yeah, okay.
I got you standing wearing it with holding two giant buckets like you just collected all the chum from behind the dump dumpster at the bar, and you're going to go home and make ice cream out of it.
What's up, savages? Terrence Pop here with another episode that actually is live from the lair. All right, now the overarching subject that we were going to talk about, we're still going to hit, and that is immigration and how it is sucking this country dry. If you thought getting medical procedures and medical care was expensive now and before, well, you just hold on to your hat because you're going to be begging for money to go to the doctor into the future. Why is that there, Pop? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. All right. We have a insane amount of illegal aliens who should not be here taking advantage of our medical establishment, which, let's be honest, most hospitals have between a 3 and a 7 day supply of supplies on hand, and they can only cover X amount of beds that they have in the hospital, and there's always tight management because the margins are very close in medical care today. Now, you have hundreds of thousands of individuals going into, hospitals, clinics, you name it, who don't have any money. The money they do get, they're getting from the taxpayer, and they're probably going to rack up a whole bunch of medical debt. And then when they get deported, which probably will happen, do you think any of that money is going to come back to us? No. We, as a nation, are going to have to eat all of those costs. And I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to have family members waiting in queues and lines, whatever you want to call it, for medical care, and they're going to fucking die. And you should put the blame right at the feet of the U.S. government for allowing this to happen, because the past 3.5+ years, we have literally seen an invasion into this country. This was not an accident. It was done on purpose, and the powers that be have weaponized the liberal left and compassion against us to drive us into bankruptcy, because that's what's going to happen. All right. We're also going to probably talk about Iran launching rockets at Israel. What could go wrong? And we want to actually cover part of the VP debate. We'll see how they're going to rig it. We'll cover it roughly between 9 and 10. That's pretty much where all the good stuff is going to happen. And then we'll cover super chats so we can get everyone out of here a little quicker. We might actually cover some super chats as we're towards the end of the last 30 minutes or so, or 15 minutes of the debate. All right. Now, we've got Jimmy Bones and Belladorf in the house. Let's give them a warm welcome. And we've been watching the chat about the Bolshevik game. So let's hope we don't get anyone too snockered with those words.
Be very careful what you wish for.
Yes.
Hey, we see you there, number 485 in the Pacific Northwest. Pop's birthday is next week.
Stop.
Somebody asked. What?
My birthday doesn't matter. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, we do. We lost those when we joined up anyway. You get reissued your life in a petri dish in a government lab.
Yeah.
When you get your first set of hard stripes.
Yeah, look, after my mom passes away, I've got no family. Nobody's really, nobody in my family. I haven't really had a birthday for celebration for about 10 years. And you know what? I'm cool
You
with
need
it.
a hug?
I'm fine.
No, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good.
He doesn't have any family, guys.
I don't.
He doesn't have any.
Well, I'd say my blood relatives are absolute shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
just saying.
That pretty much in that boat as well.
Yeah. So you feel my pain.
I feel your pain, man. You got a whole regiment, though.
I do. And we're going to read into the record on Thursday, 553.
Yep. 553. That's fucking awesome.
Well, 15 years. And I've got no publicity. I haven't been able to break into the mainstream.
Yep.
552 as it stands now is pretty good accomplishment. And I'm not even a psychologist.
Yeah.
I'm just a grunt.
That's false, though. All NCOs are psychologists to some degree.
Yeah, you're right.
We're forced into that position. I have more than once had the 2 a.m. knock at the door. I got her pregnant, Sergeant. Come on in. Have a beer. Sit down.
Let's work this out.
Let's figure this out. First of all, is she an officer's daughter?
You're fucked.
You're so fucked.
You are.
I had a kid banging a Danish ambassador's daughter that he met at a club. Like, you have to stop seeing her. But she's so hot. I mean, it's an international incident. Stop right now, or I will have you transferred out of country. I shit you not. He was banging the ambassador's daughter from Denmark. Wow, I was like, "What are you? No!"
I'd be like, I understand.
Yeah, no, I get
totally
it.
get it.
I get it, but no.
This needs to stop.
Stop.
She's fucked.
Yeah, that was bad.
It's bad.
Meanwhile, back in the USSA, when Joy Sharp built a new home in the small coastal community of Wilmington, North Carolina, about 8 years ago, her homeowner's insurance was relatively modest, $1,400 a year. Now, and after a series of violent storms slammed the Atlantic coast in recent years, her annual premiums have more than quadrupled. Now she has renewal rates of up to $6,000. I've seen this over and over again. They did this after the hurricanes in Florida. It's happening all over the country. Basically, getting home insurance is becoming as bad as trying to buy a home at all. And it's just out of the reach of most normal people. And they're doing that shit on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
They're straight up doing it on purpose. And what they're doing is eliminating the middle class. They want a poor class and an elite class. And you are either one or the other. And I don't know anybody in the one. So,
yeah.
Florida resident Sam Witzner and his wife have similarly been socked in since buying their Orlando home in Florida. Their Orlando home in Orlando. Somebody actually wrote that.
In Orlando?
The Orlando home in Orlando.
Okay. That's CBS.
I think it's an ABBA song, Orlando.
Yeah. Well, I'm a dyslexicist, so who am I
There
to
you have
criticize?
it. There you have it. Their homeowners coverage has surged from $1,500 to nearly $6,000 a year, affecting their finances and forcing them to change insurers. Ultimately, we decided to switch, of course, because obviously the cost was too high. Look, it's happening across all of the markets. It's not just.
Well, here's the thing about the insurance rates.
Yeah.
It is going to have to force the building industry to use different materials to build with moving forward that will withstand
substandard materials, substandard contractors.
Well, this is what I'm saying, though, is they're going to have to build the houses out of shit that will be able to withstand these storms.
Yeah.
You won't be able to afford to live there.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like these old rustic homes with all the.
My mom lived in way South Florida for a number of years, and she had a house that was built in like 1924. And it was still there because when they built the houses in 1924, they were built
They screw around
to stay there. Yeah.
Well, but the thing is, I was watching a couple shows on that, and they were showing how wind affects the modern home with all of the flat edges and overhangs.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to, one, go to concrete, put everything in domes so there's no edges to be caught by the wind. They're going to have to make some changes because
her house had foot-thick walls made of stucco, coral, and concrete.
I'm just saying, man.
The house walls were this thick.
Yes, I know. But nowadays, they throw shit up with 2x4s that are no longer 2x4.
Yeah.
They've shrank to 1.5 by 3.
Something 1 3/8 by 4 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all.
So they're going to have to come up with something to build these new houses with that will be able to withstand the forces of a hurricane.
Right now in the current economy, that will not happen. They're just going to continue to build crap and continue to soak you for insurance. Even car insurance prices are rising. The average cost of car insurance has jumped more than 20% in the last year, according to government inflation data. Home insurance premiums are also climbing at double-digit rates, although that might not be as obvious because the cost of home insurance is often lumped into monthly mortgage payments. We keep an eye on ours. It's lumped into our monthly mortgage payments. So far, it hasn't moved. We've been lucky there.
Now, here's a company you guys need to watch out for. It's called USAA.
Yeah.
Back in the day, while I was in the service, I used them to do homeowners insurance on the house that I owned in Berkeley.
Yep.
And the rates were competitive. They weren't the best, but they were competitive. And they were.
We need to preface it real quick. USAA puts themselves out there as for military and veterans.
That's total line.
Knowing full well that our paycheck does not match the economy.
Well, the thing is, that's a grift.
Yeah.
That no longer applies. I literally one day opened up my homeowners insurance and it went up by 1/3 in 1 year. 1/3. So I'm not a fan of USAA. They have not served me well, especially in this state, either auto insurance or homeowners insurance.
Yeah, I had auto insurance with them, and
Yeah, the auto insurance rates in this state are fucking criminal.
they are.
All right, because
I work in the industry. I know exactly.
well,
what
I
you're
know
talking
you
about.
know this, that they expect you, the insurance companies, to pay for somebody's medical expenses for the rest of their life.
Yes,
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
catastrophic clause.
That's insane.
Mhm.
Listen, I get it. It sucks. All right, people get hurt all the time, but you can't stick these companies on the hook forever. I get it. I mean, it sucks. Life down here on this planet Earth and the reality we're stuck with, it's not good.
Yeah.
All right. Shit happens to people every day that is reprehensible, but we can't afford to flip the bill. I'm sorry.
Saw somebody online today crying about the fact that shit happens, and oh gosh, why did it have to happen right there? And it dawned on me that it should be a military maxim that everybody should embrace. Shit happens exactly where it happens.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen somewhere else. When shit happens, it happens exactly where it's going to happen, period. There's no getting around it. And it sucks, like you said. But guess what? Shit happens. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yep. All right. Let me do the announcement.
Yeah, do that.
All right. So as you guys know, we've been radically demonetized. Now there's a new policy with YouTube where they can go back in time and find a video that was basically approved and it no longer meets their nebulous guidelines, and they claw back earnings that they've paid on that over the years.
Yeah.
We used to make about $6,800 a month just on ad revenue on this channel. We're doing about $937 now. They're literally just they're cutting our throats, and we can't get over 134,000 subscribers no matter how hard we try. We have a TV commercial going in the metro area. We've seen a lot of uptick in our traffic, and they're just killing us. So please, whatever you send in, it helps out greatly to keep this show rolling, and we appreciate every penny you send in. Thank you in advance. All right, let's continue on.
Continuing on. Relentlessly rising auto insurance rates are squeezing car owners and stoking inflation. Do you think? Cost of fuel goes up, cost of insurance goes up, cost of driving in general is going up for everybody. Auto insurance rates rose 2.6%, and are up 22% from a year ago. They're up 100% from just 3 years ago.
Yeah.
First of all, premium costs have been marching steadily higher since 2022, even as inflation at the customer level steadily cooled from its 9.1% peak. Okay.
All right.
A dozen eggs was $1.99 in like 2020 before the stupid happened.
No,
before the great stupiding.
$1.99. I used to get them cheaper than that.
Or 99 cents or something like that. It was ridiculous.
$1.25.
Yeah, $1.25.
$1.25 for a dozen eggs.
Sure, you're the math guy here, right? Eggs are now like $5.99.
Yeah, I mean that's what 350% increase.
It's a 350% increase. Where are they getting this 9%?
They're out of their fucking minds.
I think just say this stuff just to keep us from killing them.
Well, yeah. Well, we got to stay away from the K word.
This is in a general sense.
It's
not an actual.
I know, but we have a lot of people watching the show. We got to stay away from that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. Like I've said, historically speaking, when you can no longer feed your family, heat your house, that is when shit ramps up, and we are well on our way there.
Yeah, we're really, really well on our way there. Auto insurance and car ownership costs have become a sticking point for consumers in the Federal Reserve in its battle to rein inflation back to its goal of 2%. Oh, so inflation is figured into the budget, by the way. What they're telling you is we're just going to continue to bend you over and give you the old, and you're just going to have to suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. You're going to get BF'd in the dick hole.
They tell you this stuff. They come right out and tell you it's the regular inflation rate. But the persistent rise in rates over the last 2 years have been far more sweeping. New vehicle prices started spiking during the great stupiding of 2020. I'm not calling it any of their fancy words anymore. It's the great stupiding of 2020.
All right, hang on. I got to write that down because that's comedy gold. The great stupiding.
mainly because of a worldwide shortage of computer chips amid production cuts and supply chain bottlenecks. That's a load of crap. There's a guy listening right now whose wife works for Stellantis, and I have sat at the dinner table, both at our house and theirs, and heard her say the individuals of the diverse ranges of society who are now working in the factories can't perform a simple task like assembling a part for a door. So only about 50% of the vehicles that roll off the line are viable at all.
Are deficient free.
Yeah, that's
'Cause-
on top of the chip shortages.
Well, here's the thing. Okay. When are we going to learn this fucking lesson that we can't outsource everything? We need to be able to build shit ourselves here. And we're going to feel the pinch here because we have dock workers going on strike here. We're going to get to that in a minute.
Also, a whole nother taco.
That's a whole other taco, but we're going to talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, let's just be honest. We have Chrysler, Dodge, GM wanting to put, let me rephrase this. We have the major car industries trying to sell us $120,000 fucking pickup trucks.
A modest car today is roughly $40,000.
Yeah, that is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
We need to listen, and a lot of this has to do with the regulatory bullshit.
Yes.
First of all,
all of that needs to go away.
Why can't we just buy a simple bongo truck? Remember, and we saw them all the time in the Middle East. It's a small pickup truck.
They're in Asia too.
Yeah, you roll up the windows. You know, it's got like a 4-cylinder, 6-cylinder engine in it. None of the fucking crazy. It's just the basic.
It is a
goddamn model.
Vehicle. Yeah,
we could build that here and sell it for 20 G's or less.
We can build all of that stuff here. We have been regulated out of existence.
Yeah.
Part of the whole dock worker thing is screw it. I'm just going to segue into that real fast with the president of the union that runs all of the docks and everything. I watched him on camera today specifically state that he's going to hold the United States hostage until he gets what he wants. This is a guy who owns a yacht and makes an extremely high 6-figure income.
But 700,000 plus.
So yeah, somewhere around there. He's went through the list of things that come through the port.
It's everything. Steel,
lumber, textiles,
fuel,
anything basically that goes into a Walmart, a Meijer, a Home Depot, a Lowe's, any of that stuff. It's all coming from overseas. We manufacture nothing in the United States of America anymore, and that is by design.
Yes.
We don't do anything anymore. Places like Pennsylvania, that used to be the textile capital of the freaking country, if not the world.
New York, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, West Virginia, and then you had Alabama and Georgia that grew all the cotton and got
the cotton for all of that.
And it went up north, and they got.
And then you had Pittsburgh, Detroit, Milwaukee running steel.
And we still have hundreds of thousands of iron ore at the bottom of the Great Lakes because they would ship it from all over the country, and it would come through the Great Lakes to Pittsburgh and Ohio.
The
and what have you.
Fitzgerald was carrying ore when it was
when it broke in half. Smoked everyone. Yeah. And you know that the anchor on that funeral home that's right down the road.
Yeah.
It's rumored to be from the Edmonds Fitzgerald.
I have gone to the Sailors Maritime Cathedral more than once. When I worked downtown Detroit, I'll poke my head in there to offer
pay your respects.
Yeah,
because that's getting drowned is probably one of the worst ways to go. Just I would say second worst way. Worst way is burning to death.
For those of you who have never seen the Great Lakes, first of all, it ain't a puddle.
No.
I have seen Lake Superior in storm weather, and it rivals the big blows on the ocean. It is a absolutely FAFO zone. If you go around in there, you are going to find out very, very quickly. Yeah. And it buries its dead. The water is cold. Yeah, and you do not float back up.
You do not decompose either.
No.
There's still guys bobbing around in some of these,
every once in a while, they find somebody when they go down there. Every once in a while, they'll find a poor bastard. Anyway, the
Sorry.
reason that all of our rates are going up, these insurance rates, is none of our manufacturing is done over here either. We're held hostage by all of this stuff. And healthcare costs at work are set to steeply rise in 2024. There are no Americans working in the healthcare industry anymore, by the way. I know I see it every day. I would say 95% of the workers in American healthcare today are foreign nationals. You don't see Americans in the healthcare industry anymore in the United States of America. The cost of job-based healthcare coverage for 2024 is expected to rise at its fastest pace in years as inflation pervades insurance policies. One of the other things they do is they get you on the copays. Maybe you had a $20 copay before. I remember having like a $15, $20 copay. Now your copay is $500, $1,000, $6,000 in some cases.
Well, a lot of
And
them.
I'm citing this from cases that I've worked on.
Yeah. A lot of times there's a certain amount you have to go beyond that you pay out of pocket before insurance kicks in.
That's copay.
Yeah. And that gets pretty egregious.
Yes, it is now.
Yeah.
It absolutely is now. I've seen some brutal stuff. The insurance companies are designed, by the way, to not pay you. That's why there is an entire practice field in law that just deals with the insurance companies because it's so egregious.
Yeah.
But then the other problem is the medical providers, your physical therapists, your medical equipment providers like back braces and heating pads and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
They mark stuff up 400, 500, 600, 700%.
Because they know insurance is going to cover it.
Because they know that insurance is going to cover it, and it becomes an ugly death spiral of the insurance companies not paying.
I made this observation when my dog, when I was married, got attacked.
Yeah,
tore up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I took him to the vet, and I'm like, this could be a $4,000 medical bill. It was like $400. Stitches, tetanus shot, antibiotics, the whole deal. If a human, if that had happened to me and I went to the emergency room, 6 G's.
Probably
6 G's. That was back in
so a couple of
2001.
months ago, our shepherd dog got a beef bone stuck on his lower jaw. And we couldn't get it off because he was not having it, first of all. So we had to take him to the doggy hospital to get it taken off and everything. $600.
Wow.
To have the bone removed.
Jesus Christ.
From his lower jaw because it got stuck over his canines.
Yeah, well. I mean, yeah.
600 fucking bucks.
Yeah. My dog needed 18 stitches.
Right.
I mean, he was bit on the nose pretty bad.
Yeah. Here's an upside for you. I will dispel a myth. Like I said, I work in the particular industry right now. Everybody talks about ambulance chaser lawyers. Turns out they're the only thing standing between you and the insurance companies. And when they get their fee, it comes out of the insurance companies. It's your losses, your compensation, plus an interest that is calculated by state law, and then the lawyer's fees. They don't take anything at all from you. And most of the people in the United States think that the ambulance chasers take their money out of your winnings, your earnings from the case. It is categorically not true. They take nothing from the individual. They take that from the insurance companies. So at least that's a good point.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is just getting insane. And it's not helping the fact that we have millions of people in this country who are literally nothing but a drain on our resources. They are not, there's no value added.
There's more than one group too.
Yeah.
It is categorically more than one group that is doing this.
Yes. And I said millions because I didn't want to get it.
It is millions.
It's millions of people. Yeah.
It is millions.
This is going to turn into like one hell of a
actually
chaotic bloodbath.
Tens of millions at this point.
Yeah. Like somewhere around 33 million.
Somewhere around there. And it also includes one of your favorite groups, the horizontally orientated entertainers.
The whoas?
Those garden implements.
Yes.
They are a large drain on this industry.
Well, let's just be honest. I've already done this math so many times.
Yeah.
Single mothers literally provide or seldom ever provide any value added. All right. Now, I'm not talking about the single mother doctors or the single mother dentists or the single mother, high profile.
Basically, the cottage industry of being a single welfare mother.
Yeah. If you are on WIC welfare and Section 8 and you're getting child support and whatever, you are not adding to the economy. You are a drain.
You are what's known as a net negative.
Yes. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that the child support that's collected by the county is usually reimbursed dollar for dollar out of Title 4D money, which is funded out of the Social Security Fund.
Yep.
So when you can't retire in 10 years from now and Social Security goes bankrupt,
Yep.
you can put that right on the single mothers.
That is already going to be a thing. And the single mothers were very quickly eclipsed by our biggest growing demographic, the welfare invaders.
Yes.
Which we will get to in just a moment. Workers will learn just how much more they'll pay during their employer's open enrollment period, which typically takes place at this time. This year, employees are shelling out an average of $6,575 for their share of the nearly $24,000 annual premium for a family policy, and just over $1,400 for their share of the $8,400 cost of single coverage. So you're going to be paying close to $500 or more per month just to have health care at all. And if you're relatively young, you don't need it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. I didn't really need any type of actual medical stuff on the regular until I got north of 45.
Yeah.
I mean, I was wounded a couple times. They took care of me. I healed up. I was fine. But, you know, right around 42, 43, I started having to take high blood pressure medicine because it runs in my family. I've noticed some other issues, and it's just one of those things. Once you get over 40, you're no longer going uphill. You're going downhill. And at the bottom of that roller coaster, no matter how turbulent or calm it is, you wind up in the 6-foot deep hole because gravity always wins every single time.
True story. True story. And there just comes a point where your youthful healing powers
doesn't happen.
Those are powered by years, and at a certain point, you run out of years.
Yeah, and we're there. You and I are there.
We're both there. I know.
Yeah, we're both there. And like my mother, like she's 78.
Yeah.
And thank God she got really good medical care, so she'll live hopefully to 80 and beyond. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
But if the medical care wasn't around, she would have died about a year and a half. No, she would have died 5-7 years back with the battle of cancer she had. She had lung cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have finished her off inside of 6 months.
I forgot that you beat that.
And she beat it hard.
It's a fucking tough one.
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
She is. She's just a mean cuss. I'm just gonna be honest.
That's that generation. My mother's the same way.
Yeah,
my mother is the same way. There's no.
I love my mom, but she, you get her spun up and shit happens.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There are multiple reasons why healthcare costs are rising swiftly now. The North American Chief Actuary for Health Solutions at Aon, which pegs the increase at 8.5% for 2024. Brace yourself. If you have health insurance, your costs are going up. Okay. I'm sitting here in the industry telling you that. Higher prices account for more than half of the jump. Though inflation hit its peak last year, how do they know that it hit its peak last year?
They're lying.
The impact is often delayed in the healthcare sector because contracts between insurers and medical providers are usually locked in for several years. That is true. Even though inflation is subsiding, the healthcare trend is growing as medical providers push insurers for larger cost increases to cover the higher cost of wages and supplies that they endured during the last couple of years but were unable to pass to the taxpayers. Because we're going to go after the vice presidential debates, I'm going to go a little faster through some of this than I originally planned to. But your health insurance and car insurance and everything else, point blank, is going up because the drain on the insurance and medical industries from the welfare invaders that come in, and every time a new invader comes in, that individual gets federalized health care, an EBT card with cash allowance, and some of them apparently we've seen stuff where they're getting like $13,000 worth of EBT. and $5,000 in cash of your money. That's your money that's being given to these illegal invaders that are flooding into the country. Every one of them is getting this healthcare and stuff. And the healthcare industry, the insurance industry, they can't absorb the cost. So guess who gets it?
That's right.
You do. Guess where you get it? Bend over.
You're getting your business slips punched.
Nobody's buying you a drink. Nobody's buying you dinner. Just bend over.
That's right.
Because the federal government's about to stick you in
the brown eye.
Bad.
It's not a ribeye.
Bad poke.
It's not a ribeye. It's a brown eye.
Bad poke.
And the dildo of consequences rarely shows up lubed.
Insurers' proposed rate changes, most of which fall between 2 and 10%, may change during the review process with the ACA. Although the vast majority of marketplace enrollees receive subsidies and are not expected to face these added costs, premium increases generally result in higher federal spending on subsidies. Allow me to translate this for you. If you have a job and are a normal person and are a standing citizen who pays his taxes, pays his mortgage, pays his bills, and pays his insurance, you're going to get done in the butt. The subsidies all go to the illegal aliens
and
the invaders
and the single mothers
and a certain segment of the urban population that has a proclivity for ending up on EBT and Section 8 housing. I have seen individuals of specific groups of ethnic descent who I get their paperwork and they got to have all of their bills and I got to know what everything is. It's just part of the legal process. And they'll have like a $1,400 rental 2-bedroom apartment, right? Client's portion, $53.
Wow.
And the state
pays the rest.
You pay the other $1,300. You pay the other $1,350 of that individual's rent.
And that's Section 8.
Yes.
Yep.
And they're not in terrible neighborhoods.
No. I was actually tempted about 10 years back to purchase a bunch of homes and put them under Section 8.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to deal with the headaches.
It would have been ugly headaches.
Yeah.
First of all, your properties would have been destroyed in relatively short order. Because they don't have any responsibility, because they've got no skin in the game, they just destroy the places.
Yep.
They just completely destroy it. We've seen we have process servers. We have guys who have to take paperwork to these people's houses, and the guys will come back shaking their head going, "You're not going to fucking believe this."
No, I was actually talking with a guy who used to own about 15, 20 properties in Wayne County.
Yeah.
And he literally, one of the properties, he had to have it condemned and bulldozed because it was absolutely wrecked. We're talking 6 foot high, 6 foot high piles of dirty diapers outside virtually every window.
What?
Yeah. And he's just like, it was so disgusting.
Oh my God.
That I'm literally like, just bulldoze the whole fucking, burn it into its foundation, and then we'll scrape up the fucking ash. It was terrible.
That's terrifying.
And I'm like, I don't think I want to do that.
That's
good.
Terrifying.
I don't need to get involved in that shit.
Wow. And for every additional fornication trophy produced, they get more money.
Yes.
As well. And that's also the welfare illegals are doing the exact same thing. The welfare invaders.
And it's only going to get worse too, because our reproduction rates are below replacement. So the government
we went over that. No, they're not. That's gaslighting.
I'm just saying, at some point, they're going to start trying to incentivize people to have yet more kids that are going to wind up in prison.
Yes, I agree with that. Our population, the Caucasian American population, is exactly where it should be. We went over that in that whole episode. Is it immigration evasion?
Yeah.
Is that what we called it? Our numbers are exactly where they should be. The problem is they just keep dumping more and more third worlders on top of us. So it looks like our numbers are going down. Our numbers are fine. They're where they're supposed to be for this time period. That's a whole other rabbit hole. I don't want to go down a whole other rabbit hole right now.
No, we're not ready for that.
Insurers say healthcare costs will jump in 2024. There's more evidence employers should brace for higher health costs in 2024. A pair of new surveys finds that U.S. health costs will jump in the new year, which may have significant implications for organizations. According to WTW's Global Medical Trends Survey, the cost of medical care benefits in the United States is projected to increase an additional 8.9% in 2024, compared with 8.2% in 2023. Globally, though, the biggest increase will ease. The cost increase will ease slightly to 9.9% after hitting a record high of 10% in 2023, although analysts predict it will increase again in the coming few years. Basically, what they're doing is bracing you to take it in deeper again.
Yeah, take it deeper.
Yeah.
And bigger.
Because this is 2024. This is right now. This article is from the beginning of the year, and we've already seen costs go up. I'm sure that some of you have gotten your health care, your health insurance bills and gone,
what the fuck?
The fuck.
Yeah. Correct.
So when 2025 is just going to get worse because spending has completely overridden all of the markets. They're just spending too much money.
And did you hear
on free healthcare?
You listened to the Kennedy when he talked about the massive healthcare crisis we're going into because everyone's getting chronically ill.
Everybody's being poisoned.
Yeah.
Everybody keeps eating shit and taking the medicine that their doctors give them.
Yeah, it's not like the medical industry finds permanent cures. They just treat the symptoms.
We're going to do a show on that. Welcome to the subscription of your life.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is I have been doing a lot of research because, I have some issues going on.
And you do mad science experiments in your fucking bathroom.
I know.
I've seen it. I've walked into your bathroom and seen like bubbling cauldrons of liquefied metals next to supplements. And I'm wondering to myself if like you're the T1000. So,
but the thing is the seed oils.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
When you look at the amount of seed oils that are getting used, you can literally see the seed oils increase, and then you can watch the health problems go up with it.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
The other day on a whim, when I was little hostess, when we were kids, fucking love Twinkies, dude. Love ho-hos.
Little Debbie was my girlfriend.
There you go. Little Debbie was your girlfriend. I love the hostess pies, the apple pies.
They're okay.
That was my thing.
Yeah.
But the other day, like 2 days ago, I happened to look up the ingredients in Twinkies, which is a simple yellow cake with a frosting. First of all, there's no frosting in there. That's just hydrogenated seed oil.
Yep.
With sugar. There are 37 ingredients in a Twinkie. And I sat down and broke it down because I like to cook. I'm that guy. And you can make a Twinkie with 7 ingredients, including eggs, raw sugar, real vanilla.
Yeah. The stuff that should be in there.
It should be in there.
Yeah. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest. I was one of those guys who would have the orange Hostess cupcakes in a Red Bull.
Yeah. That's a meal.
I can't tell you how many times that I'd have people come to my desk at lunch. They come in with their meal or whatever. And I'm like, that's bad for you.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And now I'm paying for it.
Did you have vending machines in your barracks?
We did.
We had vending machines in many of the barracks that I was in.
Listen, there's so many fucked up stories.
So many.
Because, you remember
it's all poison.
The vending machine in office where they put that dude's shit in there. We've did that to quite a few soldiers.
Yeah.
Like, where's my wallet? My dog tags. Q1 in the vending machine. Gotta get out there and buy that. What? That's so fucked up.
Yeah, I've seen that happen more than once.
Yeah.
Don't leave your shit insecure in a barrel.
No,
something bad will happen.
Get fucked up. All right, we're off the wire.
We're off the
target. Off the target.
The drivers of medical costs, according to insurers, range from new medical technologies to overuse of care due to medical professionals recommending too many services or over-prescribing. This is the subscription to your life. The thing that the doctors are doing today, the doctors are basically just drug pushers at this point.
Yeah.
All they want to do is get you on your subscription of medications so that you are a customer for life.
I miss my KGB doctor. Like literally, I would go to his office. It was all one. You need
I love the KGB doctor.
You need a scan of your heart. Just go down two doors down on the hallway, and the Russian nurse comes in and EKG, no problem. EEG, they had that machine. I didn't have to like, all right, we're gonna give you a referral. You got to call this guy, and it's a month or 2 months.
Yeah, I deal with that also on
fucking
a daily
hate that
basis.
shit.
Yeah, I deal with that constantly.
Hmm.
There are driver services just for the medical industry, exactly for that reason.
Yeah.
There are 4 major driving services in the Detroit metro area just to shuttle patients back and forth between referrals.
Like my buddy Darren, his bed used to be right there.
Yeah.
Right where that desk is
Yeah.
in front of you.
Yeah.
And they had him on a fentanyl patch because he was always in pain because of his leg. And about 2 years before it passed away, the insurance company's like, we're done covering it. And they cold turkeyed him, and that almost killed him.
You can't. Wow.
Yeah, you can't do that. They got away with it.
Wow.
And there was supposed to be a settlement, but he died before it finished in court. So there you go.
Wow. That's crazy.
And listen, that happens all the time.
Yeah, I see that as well. It's all the stuff we're talking about with the medical stuff, I see pretty much on the daily. Insurance companies just stopping payment. They're not going to cover you anymore. You're done. And
you have to go to court. You got to go through the whole thing.
Yes.
And then
it can take years. I've got probably 7 or 8 dozen cases that are 2, 3, 4 years old. Well, maybe not 4 years old, 2, 3 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I'm a paralegal. Big difference. Not here to give legal advice. Have to make little disclaimer. This is not legal advice. Find a lawyer.
Yeah.
There.
Yourself. We're not recommending anyone.
That's right. Inflation continues to be a factor as well. Although inflation has abated in recent months, it's catching up to medical costs as the price of gas, food, and other goods and services increases due to inflation. Medical trend factors used by insurers to set premium rates have clearly been incrementally affected as well. Again, this is the whole EBT invader problem that is driving the prices through the roof. I see it on the daily.
It's supply and demand, right? It boils down to simply this: supply and demand. We have X amount of supply, and now we have over demand.
Well, the thing is, they've created an additional supply made entirely of monopoly money.
Correct. Well, here's the thing, though. You have the demand, which is now greater, and you have a limited supply. If you want to get your hands on that supply, you got to pay more money.
Yeah.
And it's not helping that, we've basically doubled or tripled our money supply in the past 4 years because we're printing more money than this is why our money isn't like so hyperinflated. It's worth just a fraction of what it was. Is beyond me.
It is.
No, I'm talking about like it's cheaper to burn
like
the money
Weimar
to heat
Germany
your house.
Period. Yeah, Weimar Germany period.
Yeah, or
inflation.
South, was it
Venezuela?
Zimbabwe, Venezuela? What?
Zimbabwe, Venezuela. Yeah.
Like there's people who get money, weave it into clothes, and sell it for more than the value of the money you made the clothes. This is like bizarro, crazy retard land.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gotten.
And
really
listen,
weird.
I'm not a super economist, but I understand how shit works.
You're the math guy.
Yeah.
I can do the analysis part, but you do the math part. So this article is from 2024, but here's health expenditures from 1960 to 2022. Now, this is in U.S. billions of dollars. Look at right around 1996. I wish Mrs. Battledwarf was here. She knows all of the drug stuff. She knows all the drug stuff.
Yeah.
I think it was around 96 when the insurance companies were allowed to start advertising on TV. Look at the climb right there.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, there's medical expenses out the ass.
Out what?
Out the ass.
Okay. Yeah.
Insurance pays medical providers for quantity, not quality. Most health insurance companies, including Medicare, pay doctors, hospitals, and other providers using a fee-for-service system. This is true. Again, deal with it on a daily. This method works by reimbursing each test, procedure, or office visit. They keep immaculate bills at all of the healthcare providers, your physical therapist, your MRI, your medical device provider, all of that stuff.
Yeah, look, my sister does a lot of that billing and negotiating with the insurance companies.
Medical billing coders make good money.
She makes like 45. Not that good of money.
Well, I mean, it doesn't for the job that it is.
Yeah, you're right.
For the job that it is, it's not that difficult.
And that pay it's just a guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. I don't talk to her, so I don't know, and I don't care actually.
Yeah, that's fine. The more services doctors provide, the more money they receive. This can lead to excess testing, over-treatment, or over-prescribing. Can vouch is true. This is particularly true for patients in poor health with a low chance of improvement. Additionally, the U.S. healthcare system is non-integrated. The World Health Organization, the WHO, which is absolutely evil and diabolical and completely a Bolshevik organization,
Drink.
defines integrated health services as the organization and management of health services so that people get the care that they need when they need it in ways that are user-friendly, achieve the desired results, and provide value for the money. That's the stupidest definition of integrated health services I've ever seen, but that's the WHO for you.
I don't know. I like the doctor where it's all in one. You just go there, you talk to him. He says, okay, well, you go, they're going to take your blood down the hallway.
Yes.
You need an EKG. They'll do that down the hallway and you get results immediately. The doctor looks at it and he says, yeah, you're good, or no, you're fucked up.
Now, here's the thing we mentioned earlier about your subscription to your life. The U.S. population is becoming more unhealthy. According to the CDC, 6 out of 10 U.S. adults have at least one chronic disease. Really?
Go through the list.
Chronic diseases include asthma, heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes. While they may or may not be rare, illnesses like these can result in higher healthcare costs. Patients with chronic conditions often need long-term care that's complex and intensive. This includes more prescription drugs, emergency services, in-home care, and support programs. But these all come with a high price tag. The one that they do not tell you about that they love to give you is SSRIs.
Yeah,
the
about
psychotropic drugs.
Yeah.
They
love that at the VA.
Yes, there is an entire industry out there to get people onto those drugs. That is the purpose of their industry. The psychologists and the psychiatrists, they're not trying to help you anymore. Find me one person that has been cured by a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Find me one.
Yeah, you're right. Like when I had my TBI, I remember I went through the whole Walter Reed craziness.
Yep.
Then I came back here in the States and they were continuing my SSRIs that I got at Walter Reed. And I was talking to one of the Army doctors around here and he goes, well, you're going to have to be on this the rest of your life. And I'm like, no. He goes, no, you have to be on them. I'm like, I'll take them for a year. It's a crutch. I understand. You know, my thinking meat got scrambled up and it's healing. And we got to take some pressure off of it. I'm cool. It's just like a crutch. But, you know, at 1 year, I'm weaning off of it. He goes, well, I can't recommend that. I go, I don't care what you recommend.
Yeah.
I am not going to stay on head meds for the rest of my goddamn life.
Yep. Absolutely correct.
And then I went to the Walter Reed or the Fort Drum TBI clinic.
Yeah.
And they were trying different, you know, TBI or SSRIs and other head med kind of things to deal with my migraine headaches. One of them almost blinded me. Like I woke up in the morning and everything was amber colored. Like I was looking at the world through an old amber monitor. And I was like, nope,
hard pass.
And I remember I shouldn't have drove, but I got in my car. I called my chain of command. I'm like, I'm going up to the head clinic at Drum. Like, okay. Drove the 3 hours up there, walked in and said, what the fuck is this? And they're like, oh, well, it's a side effect of such and such. And I'm like, no, I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah. Here, you can have this shit back.
So I'm very, very, I don't mess around with that shit at all because I want to risk it.
So, like I said, Mrs. Battle Dwarf knows all of the drug stuff because she sold the wholesale stuff. And she showed me where Xanax, you're only supposed to be on it for 6 months.
Yeah.
It is not meant to be a permanent drug.
Because it becomes very hard to come down from that. Like Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
He had to leave the country, go to a specific special clinic. I believe it was in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And he almost died there.
Yep.
Taking him off Xanax.
Yep.
Or something similar to it.
Yep. Now, here's the other thing. They don't cross-test any of those drugs either. Once they put you on them, they just give you all of these. Nobody knows what, if you mix drug A, B with drug Q and X, if you mix those 4 drugs, they don't know what's going to happen. They have no idea, which might give you other health problems. Oh, look, you've got another health problem. Here's a drug for that. See how this works? It's the subscription to the rest of your life. You would spend your life medicated and chronically in pain or messed up in the head.
Yeah.
Or crippled in some way.
Listen, like my situation, I mean, I know I'm becoming pre-diabetic because my fasting blood sugars are just a pinch too high. And I'm not screwing around with it. I am hitting that shit hard to reverse it. I'll probably do a whole show on it and show my diet and all the supplements I take and the PT I have to do to maintain.
You're out of years.
I am out of years, but I want to have a slower slide down to my grave at 65. I don't want to be miserable between like 56 and 65.
I don't want to be gibbering blinded.
No, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be like one day doing my thing, go,
sure,
and hear the voice. You're done. Oh, okay.
Okay.
And that's it. You know?
All right, let's go then.
Lead the way.
Off we go.
Hey, Jimmy, get the feed ready for the debate.
Yeah, we are.
We're danger close. We are
7
danger
minutes out.
Roger that.
We are danger close.
Feet dry in 7.
Need to call danger close. Danger close.
We did one not actually danger close. We just had to do the call, and they dropped like a 200-pounder, like 1,000 feet from us or something.
That's
like
not
that.
1,000 feet. You would not.
Or something. I don't know. I don't know what the distance was.
Listen, they dropped 1,000-pounders at the bottom of a valley.
Yeah.
I was in a foxhole, maybe 800 meters, a click away, doing this when they told me to be in the hole.
Yeah.
And I lost this eardrum. Just gone.
I know we weren't what would really be danger close in an actual situation.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're fucked.
We just the Lurst team had to do the call. Yeah. And it wasn't a kaboom either. It was a dummy.
Yeah. I am so glad that I've never been in a situation where I had to call in danger close anything.
There was the one Ranger mission in Afghanistan where they had to call it 16 danger close. And we're talking like tens of meters.
Yeah, no, that's fucked up. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, it was crazy shit. We're right back down the rabbit hole. We need a little rabbit hole video for you to hit the button, Jimmy, and remind us that we're way the fuck off track.
I'll see if I can find a little clip for us to get for that.
There you go. Roughly 90% of all healthcare costs are for treating chronic illnesses and mental health conditions. There it is.
Yep.
Additionally, 71.6% of adults older than 20 in the U.S. are overweight or obese. Stop eating garbage. Do you want to know how to stop eating garbage? Ask me. I can show you how. I have removed all of the grocery store box goods from our diet at home.
Yeah.
We don't get sick anymore. Jen and I haven't been sick in years.
Oh, good.
Like 2 years. We haven't been like a sniffle, the usual fall or when the weather changes and you're just screwed and you're going to get a sniffle anyway.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing.
Yeah. Good.
And it's all down to diet. This can lead to chronic diseases and inflated health spending, especially if these patients delay medical care. I know some of you looked at me and went, "You fat fuck." That's because there was a situation prior to me doing that where I was eating fast food way too much for a period of about 8 months. And yes, it caused massive weight gain. And I'm really pissed about it and I'm working on it. I have lost 2 or 3. What?
I can't tell.
I've lost 2 or 3 small orbital moons.
All right. I'm just fucking.
My gravitational pull is down. Leave me alone, man. I no longer have several satellites.
All right. All right.
Medical advances can improve our health and extend our lives, but upgraded tools also lead to increased medical spending and overutilization of expensive technology. It's from the Monty Python machine that goes ping.
Yes.
Hospitals love to have expensive machinery and use them on people just so they can bill for it.
Yeah. I just had a huge MRI done
Mhm.
about 2 weeks back.
Yeah, that is a favorite. MRIs, and those are expensive machines.
Yes, they are.
They're really expensive.
Yep.
Many individuals associate more advanced technology and newer procedures with better health care. Somehow the human race survived without them, though. Well, this can be the case. There's one thing for sure. It's more expensive. One of the most influential factors causing costs to rise is technology, says Rachel Rea at MHA Programs. Healthcare experts are constantly looking for new ways to improve healthcare services. So medical professionals are researching the capabilities of technology and implementing many new tech tools, which is how they upcharge you.
This is going to take at least a couple decades to fix it, and we have to be 100% into it. Otherwise, it's going to fail.
Yes.
Like literally,
this
we
is
need
going to collapse. The insurance
need-
industry is
well,
going to collapse.
We need to bring back the way it was in the 60s with the PT and the health.
You had a doctor.
Yeah.
And you didn't eat garbage every day.
Yeah.
And kids got outside and played.
Correct.
And even in the 80s and early 90s, to find an obese person was unusual.
We had in Berkeley High School, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
I think we had like maybe 4 people, 6 people tops.
A couple of the females that we know got a little fluffy toward the end.
Yeah.
But it was like a little fluffy because their bodies were, the maternal alarm was going off.
They were fluffifying.
Whether they knew it or not.
Yeah.
They were nest fluffying.
Yes. Yeah. Getting ready for the egg dump.
Because it's normal. Your body is supposed to do that as a female.
Correct.
But to find an obese person back then was
it was very
unusual.
It was hard.
Was unusual. There was Larry. Larry was I think you would have known him. Dude ended up on Oprah. He was like 600.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Larry.
Yeah. The Mohawk
Larry.
kid.
Yes.
Yeah, he was cool as fuck.
Dude, he was totally cool. I
Yeah.
hung out at his house a bunch of times.
Yeah. Dude, I like that guy. He lost a bunch of weight. I wonder what happened to him.
I don't know, but he ended up on Oprah.
Yeah, he lost after that show. He lost like 200 pounds.
So that's like 400 pounds.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I hope he's still alive.
Yeah. He was cool as fuck.
God,
he was a really nice guy, but he was miserable.
Yeah.
He hated himself.
That's why he lost all that weight.
Yeah. We are coming up toward debate time. So real quick, I want to touch again on the shipping thing that's coming because I want to warn you, gentle viewers out there. Go fill up some gas cans. Go buy some toilet paper. Get dry goods. Set them aside now. Now. I cannot emphasize this enough because there is a very good chance that if this strike carries on, the price of everything is going to double and triple for a little while.
Yeah, it'll be bad.
It will be bad. So if you've got a little prepping that you need to do, now is the time to do it. Because the stupid is arriving at our shores.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take my pickup tomorrow and fill up a bunch of gas cans.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely correct.
Because what this guy is threatening to do is hold the entire country hostage because this one guy has the ear of every dock in the country. And if those ships do not unload,
it's a done deal.
And that merchandise doesn't move. Any just-in-time supply chains, which is like the popular thing right now.
Listen, don't get me
they
wrong.
Don't need a warehouse.
Yeah. You're fucked.
They're done.
Yeah. Now listen, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
If the dock workers have legitimate gripes, if there's been like, if you're running into that situation where they're operating under a super old contract and no one will give them a new one, I totally understand.
Yes.
I literally do. But if this is one guy flexing his fucking penis to fuck over the whole country, woe to him.
Here is what he said, and I am paraphrasing. During the great stupiding of 2020, these dock companies made huge profits because everything was done online, and the dock workers, they all had to be there. And he said, everybody got sick and died. Well, you're all still there, dumbass. But because those companies made record profits during that time, he wants his share of that. Go listen to his speech. He said it. He wants his share of that.
Well,
and he's going to hold the entire country hostage until he gets what he wants.
We'll see how that works out for him.
And he says he's already made his demands.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works. If this is one guy flexing his penis, woe to him. Because when enough people have relatives die because of the supply curve, it's not going to go well for him. Because guess what? That's type 1 diabetics.
Yes.
Like if you don't get your insulin and you're a type 1 diabetic, you will die.
Yes.
You are done.
Yes.
You know, and I know a little girl.
Yeah.
She's about 12 or 13 now who just became a type 1 diabetic. She's in New York.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm her crazy army uncle now.
There you go.
And I'll tell you what, I will move heaven and earth to get her goddamn insulin.
Yeah. Yeah. I know a boy down in Ohio is in the same fix. He's about 10 or 12.
Yeah. I'm not even fucking around.
Yeah. Jimmy, have you got for us?
I got it up here. Let me pull that out of here. Just about ready to get this shit show going.
All right, let's make sure everyone can hear the sound. So in the comments, just leave a 5x5 if you can hear the presidential debate.
Alrighty, here.
Let me know if you can hear that.
Within a minute each at the discretion of the moderator.
Hell, I got to do it. Hang on. Stand by.
All right, unfuck it.
Stand by for technical difficulties.
Stand by.
Stand by to stand by.
Standing by to stand by.
There we go.
I hated standing by to stand by.
There we go.
Tonight, our country is facing several unfolding
Let us know if you can hear this.
Is on the brink of war. Americans are suffering from the catastrophic impact of Hurricane Helene, and now a labor strike as 25,000 dock workers from Maine to Texas are picketing.
We got a 5x5 on
the Middle East.
5x5 on.
Thank you, Nora. Earlier today, Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel, but that attack failed thanks to joint U.S. and Israeli defensive action. President Biden has deployed more than 40,000 U.S. military personnel and assets to that region over the past year to try to
Why are we involved in
war.
Yeah. We have
Iran is
101st and 82nd Airborne
but the U.S.
Division
still
going
considers
over
it the largest
I'm sick and tired of fighting
in the
Israel's
world,
wars
and it
and
has
coming to war.
drastically
I've
reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final voice in the Situation Room,
by the way,
would you
he's got a picture of
support
Che
or
Guevara and
oppose
now
a
on the wall
preemptive
of the
strike
living room.
by Israel on
We should
Iran?
find that
You
picture.
have 2 minutes.
I have
Thank you. And thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists
False.
massacred over 1,400 Israelis and took prisoners. Israel's ability to be able to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental.
Not going to happen.
And ending
That's not our
the
business.
humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the
How many
United
times
States
do
to
you
have
use
steady
fundamental?
leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where along with our
trying to
Israeli
throw words
partners
together.
and our coalition, able to stop the incoming attack. But what's fundamental here is that steady leadership
Fundamental.
is going to matter. It's clear, and the world saw it on that debate stage a few weeks ago. A nearly 80-year-old Donald Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment. But it's not just that. It's those that were closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when the world is this dangerous. His chief of
Wait a
staff,
minute.
John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed
How
human
many
being he'd
wars
ever met.
started when Trump was in
And
office?
both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person
Danger to the safety
closest
of
to them,
Israel is what I'm guessing here.
to the Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is
Why
we've
is
seen
he
steady
talking
leadership.
about Trump and Harris?
We've seen a calmness
They
that is
asked
able
him a
to be able to
specific
draw
question.
on the coalitions to bring them together. Understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see Donald Trump turn
What
towards
allies?
Vladimir Putin,
Yeah.
turn towards North Korea, when we start to
What?
see
What do you
that type of
what?
fickleness around holding the coalitions together,
What
we will
coalitions?
stay committed. And as the vice president said today is, we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
By sending our men
Governor,
to
your
their
time
deaths?
is up. Senator
This is
Vance, the
just
same
Bolshevik
question.
rhetoric.
Would you support
Again.
or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are. I was raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother required Social Security help to raise me. And she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country, for the American dream that made it possible for me to live
Oh my God,
dreams.
we're open to
And
say, who
most
the hell is this
importantly,
kid?
I know that a lot of you are worried about the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes that if we get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once again. Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line. Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration.
Wow!
What do they use
No,
that
that's
money for?
absolutely
They
true.
use it to
Yeah.
buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
Israel is
Thank
not
you,
our
Senator.
ally.
Governor Walz, do you care to respond to any of the allegations?
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office. We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program in, the inability to advance it. Donald Trump pulled that program and put nothing else in its place. So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership. And when Iran shot down an American aircraft in international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump. And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look, our allies understand that Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled. Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is
running the ship? We haven't seen
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible. Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump. Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before. Ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you. Let's turn now to Hurricane Helene. The storm could become one of the deadliest on record. More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing.
I can tell you.
Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger,
nothing to do with climate
stronger,
change.
and more deadly because of the historic rainfall. Senator Vance, according to CBS News polling, 7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change.
That's false.
Senator, what
Absolutely
responsibility
false.
would the Trump administration have to try and reduce
numbers pulled
the
out of their
impact of climate change? I'll give you 2
We have to
minutes.
cripple our
First of all,
economy
let's
while
start
China
with
and India
hurricane,
just
because
keep
it's an
going.
unbelievable,
Sorry, I
unspeakable
don't
human
agree.
tragedy. I just saw today actually a photograph of 2 grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them, and we want as robust and aggressive as a federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible. And then, of course, afterwards to help the people in those communities rebuild. I mean, these are communities that I love. Some of them I know very personally.
All over Twitter,
in
there are
Appalachia,
videos,
all across the
no federal help
Southeast.
coming.
They need their government to do their job.
send
And
it
I
all to
can
Ukraine.
admit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they
$2.8
suffer
billion
from a
to Israel
disaster.
the day before
Laura,
yesterday.
you asked about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. Look, a lot of people
And local
are
authorities are
justifiably
threatening
worried about all
to
these crazy
arrest
weather
people with
patterns. I think it's
private
important for us,
helicopters
first of all,
to
to
fly
say,
in and
Donald
give
Trump and I
aid and
support
rescue
clean
people.
air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talking a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions, this idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. Well, let's just say that's true, just for the sake of argument, so we're not arguing about weird science. Let's just say that's true. Well, if you believe that, what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible, and you'd want to produce as much energy as possible in the United States of America, because we're the cleanest economy in the entire world. What have Kamala Harris's policies actually led to? More energy production in China, more manufacturing overseas, more doing business in some of the dirtiest parts of the entire world. And when I say that, I mean
More
the amount of
third-world
carbon
invaders
emissions
coming
they're
to our
doing
country
per
to take our
unit of
jobs.
economic output. So if we actually care about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do
I
is
lost
to
a job
double
at
down
Ally
and
Bank
invest in
because
American
the
workers
tech
and the American
CEO,
people. And unfortunately,
was
Kamala
Indian,
Harris has done
and he
exactly the
promptly
opposite.
proceeded to fire all the white
Governor Walz,
Yeah.
you have 2 minutes to respond.
We got close to an agreement because all those things are happening. Look, first of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane. And my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors as we work together on these emergency managements. Governors know no partisanship. They work together. So all of the governors and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. The federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to recover, but we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying focused. Now, look, coming back to the climate change issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in. What we've seen,
which the Democrats are buying all kinds of
Biden Harris
beachfront
administration
property.
seen this investment.
Yeah, everywhere in the world where
investments,
there
the
is
biggest
a
in
static
global history that we've seen in the Inflation Reduction
Sitting at
Act
the ocean,
has
like a
created
harbor
jobs all
wall,
across the
things like
country.
that,
2000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio,
the water hasn't
taking
risen.
the EV
You can
technology
see a
that we
picture of it
invented
100 years
and
ago,
making
and
it
now
here.
there's
200,000 jobs across the country. The largest solar manufacturing plant in North America sits in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real. They've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, and I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing
false. That is such a fucking lie.
False.
Holy shit.
The solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country. That's exactly what this administration has done. We are seeing us becoming an energy superpower for the future, not
Are we still
just the
streaming?
current. And that's what absolutely makes sense.
Jimmy, can you
And
hear
then
us?
we start thinking about
Yep.
how do we
Oh, we
mitigate
got bounced out
these
over here.
disasters.
Thank you. Senator, I want to give you an opportunity to respond there. The governor mentioned
What
that
the heck?
President Trump has called
Good
climate
recovery.
change a
Good
hoax.
recovery.
Do you agree?
I got it.
Well, look, what the president has said is that if the Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris and her
Wow.
leadership,
Glad
if
we
they
had it up
really
to location.
believe that climate change is serious, what they would be doing is more manufacturing and more energy production in the United States of America, and that's not what they're doing. So clearly, Kamala Harris herself doesn't believe her own rhetoric on this. If she did, she would actually agree with Donald Trump's energy policies. Now, something Governor Walz said I think is important to touch upon, because when we talk about clean energy, I think that's a slogan that often the Democrats will use here. I'm talking, of course, about the Democratic leadership. And the real issue is that if you're spending hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars of American taxpayer money on solar panels that are made in China, number one, you're going to make the economy dirtier. We should be making more of those solar panels here in the United States of America. Some of them are, Tim, but a lot of them are being made overseas in China, especially the components that go into those solar panels. So if you really want to make the environment cleaner, you've got to invest in more energy production.
United
We haven't
States
built a
can be
nuclear
completely
facility, I think,
self-contained
one
if
in
we
the past
remove all of
40
the
years.
bullshit
Natural
regulations.
gas, we've
Correct.
got to invest more in it. Kamala Harris has done the opposite. That's raised energy prices and also meant that we're doing
Senator,
worse by
your
the
time
climate.
is up. Governor, would you like to respond?
Well, look, we're producing more natural gas than we ever have.
False.
There's no
That's
moratorium
false.
on that.
Absolutely
We're producing
false.
more oil. But folks
False.
know,
No, that's false as well.
like I
God,
said
what a
again,
lie. Fuck.
these are not
We don't have any
liberal folks.
refineries
These are
either.
not folks that are Green New Deal folks. These are farmers that have been drought one year,
I'm a farmer.
massive flooding
look
the
at
next
me.
year.
And most of
They
which
understand
hate
that
this
it makes
fucking
sense.
guts.
Look, our #1 export cannot be
Can't
topsoil
confirm. I know
from
people
erosion
from
from
his
these massive
hometown
storms. We saw it
in
in
my
Minnesota
state.
this summer.
Yeah, no one likes him there.
And thinking about how do we respond
This
to
is
that,
why I didn't
we're
want to
thinking
watch
ahead
this,
on
because
this. And what
basically
Kamala
I
Harris
wanted
has been
to
able to do in
redacted
Minnesota,
things.
we're starting
I
to
got you.
weatherproof some of these
But
things. The
I'm there.
infrastructure
Fat
law that
in
was
federal
passed
prison orange.
allows us to
Yes.
think about mitigation in the future.
And I don't
How
like
do we
prison
make sure that we're protecting by burying our
I
power
won't
lines?
last
How do
long
we
in
make sure
Right.
that we're protecting
Not
lakefronts
doing
and
that.
things that we're seeing more and more of? But to call it a hoax and to take the oil company executives to Mar-a-Lago, say, give me money for my campaign,
You
and I'll let you do whatever
literally
you
have
want.
pictures
We
of
can be
Mao
smarter
and
about that.
Che
And an
in your
all-above
living
energy
room,
policy is
you
exactly what she's
disgusting
doing.
Bolshevik
Creating those
lying
jobs right
piece
here.
of shit.
Drink.
Governor, your time is up. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate.
No, it's not.
Margaret?
There's no
Thank you,
overwhelming
Laura.
consensus.
We're going to
It's
turn
not-
now to immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border consistently ranks as one of the top issues
Yes,
for
because you're
American
bringing
voters.
them in under
Senator Vance,
Harris and
your
Biden.
campaign
hang on, I wanna
is
hear-
pledging to carry out the largest mass deportation plan in American history
We
and
should.
to use the U.S. military to do so.
Yeah,
Could you
good.
be more
What it's for.
specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S.
Yes.
illegally
Oh, my
and
heart
separate them
strings.
from
Oh,
any of their
so
children who
sad.
were
They all
born
go.
on U.S. soil? You have 2 minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies.
Which she did.
94 executive orders, suspending deportations, decriminalizing illegal aliens, massively increasing the asylum fraud that exists in our system. That has opened the floodgates. And what it's meant is that a lot of fentanyl is coming into our country. I had a mother who struggled with opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want
And,
people who are
slavery.
struggling with addiction to be
Tons of
deprived
slavery
of their
coming
second
across the
chance
border.
because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations. And that gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually do? So we've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country. What do we do with them? I think the
34 million.
first thing that we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on those folks. And then I think you make it harder for illegal aliens to undercut the wages of American workers. A lot of people will go home if they can't work for less than minimum wage in our own country. And by the way, that'll be really good for our workers who just want to earn a fair wage for doing a good day's work. And the final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border. And I'd ask my fellow Americans to remember when she came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what, I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that. It would be good for all
doing
of us.
the ineffectual NCO,
Governor,
those shitbag NCOs.
do you care to respond to any of the specific allegations, including that the vice president is
says little Timmer
in fentanyl
blames Trump.
and using kids as drug mules, among other things regarding children?
The drug mule is not true, but I will say
What?
about this about the fentanyl.
Are you
This is
fucking
the
crazy?
opioid crisis, and the good news on this is
What
the
a
last 12
line
months saw
fuck.
the largest decrease in
That
opioid
is a
deaths in our
huge
state's
problem at the
history.
fucking border.
30% decrease in Ohio, but there's still more work to do. But let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of the largest state, a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking and drug interventions.
That was 15, 20 years
want to
ago.
solve this.
Correct.
Most of us want to solve this, and that is the United States
Let's
Congress.
not
That's
forget
the
that she
Border
kept
Patrol
black
agents.
men
That's the Chamber of
in prison
Commerce.
longer
That's
than
the
most
Americans
Americans
out
because
here.
of the
That's why we had the fairest and the toughest bill on immigration that
God,
this
you're a
nation's
fucking
seen. It was
lying
crafted by
Oh my
conservative
God.
senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle, wants to get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there. 1,500 new border agents, detection for drugs, DOJ money to speed up these the adjudications on this, just what America wants.
What DOJ money?
As
What
I was
money
getting
does
ready
the
to pass
DOJ
and
have?
actually tackle
No,
this,
it's a bill
Donald
that
Trump
they had
said
wrapped
no.
with a bunch of
Told
other
them to vote
shit.
against it
They were giving money
because it
away, and
gives him a
they said, no,
campaign
fuck
issue.
it, we're not
It
doing
gives him
it.
to,
know what he's
what would
talking
Donald
about.
Trump talk about if we
This is
actually
one of the
did some of
famous
these things?
ideas we
And
talked
they
about,
need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this.
So
And he
did you,
promised
and you
America
failed.
How easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are
that's
again,
because
9 years
they want
after
to
he came
spend
down
some
that
billions of dollars,
escalator,
but they want to send hundreds of billions
dehumanizing
overseas.
people and telling them what he was going to do. As far as the deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable. So that's where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, the question was, will you separate parents from their children, even if their kids are U.S. citizens? You have 1 minute.
Margaret, my point is that we already have massive child separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. And I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country. And we know that they use children as drug mules, and it is a disgrace, and it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy. She did exactly that. We had a record number of illegal crossings. We had a record number of fentanyl coming into our country. And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America. Parents who can't afford health care, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop and will when Donald Trump is president
Senator,
again.
your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%, support mass deportations?
Look, we fix this issue with a bill that is necessary, but the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this, and Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield. The Republican governor said, it's not true. Don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield were, the governor had to send
through the executive
state law enforcement to escort kindergartners
Yeah.
to school.
Like, come on.
I believe Senator Vance wants to solve
can't
this
keep up with their own
by
mind.
standing with
No.
Donald Trump
That's the
and
best.
not
the best
working
part about
together to
most
find a
people
solution.
never,
It becomes a
ever
talking
keep up
point.
with their
And
own
when it
mind.
becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim,
Governor,
Oh,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the
demonized
question
Donald
first.
Trump.
The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding. So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do at the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been to the southern border more than our borders are.
The military belongs at our border. That's
and
what
it's
the
actually
military is
heartbreaking
for.
because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional resources would help, but most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels.
No,
Governor Walz
if you try to come in illegally, it's that you're
Springfield,
PNG.
and he's
That's
very
right.
worried
You should
about
be
the
just-
things that I've said.
I don't
in
care if,
Springfield. Look,
the
in
kids are
Springfield,
legal
Ohio,
citizens or
and in
not.
communities all
Sorry, you're
across
out of
this
here.
country,
That
you've got
birthright
schools that are
citizenship gotta go.
overwhelmed.
Yeah,
You've
that's
got
bullshit.
hospitals that are overwhelmed. You have got housing that is totally unaffordable because we brought in millions of illegal immigrants to compete with Americans for scarce homes. The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace, Tim.
20,000
And I actually think, I
Haitians
agree with you. I think you want to
who are
solve this
known to be
problem,
violent
but I don't
dropped
think that
out of
Kamala
town
Harris
of
does.
60,000.
Senator, your time is
Yeah.
up. Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, well,
That's two divisions.
It is law enforcement that asked for the bill. They helped craft it. They're the ones that supported it. That's because they know we need to do this. Look, this issue of continuing to bring this up, of not dealing with it, of blaming migrants for everything. On housing, we could talk a little bit about Wall Street speculators buying up housing and making them less affordable, but it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also gives the money necessary to adjudicate. I agree. It should not take 7 years for an asylum
He's
claim
not
to be done.
doing well at
This
all.
bill gets it done in 90 days. Then you start to make a difference in this and you start to adhere to what we know, American principles. Look, I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew
Here we go.
25:40
Pulling in
talks
God
about
now.
to the least amongst us you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans.
Yeah,
They
but I
simply
can't
don't
afford it.
order to it.
Yeah.
This bill
I'm
does
sorry.
it.
Yes, to the
It's
least
funded.
amongst
It's
us, but
supported by
I'm
the people
tired
who
of
do it,
paying
and
for it.
lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other
Wow.
people.
Thank you, Governor.
Their
And just
dignity,
to
how we treat
clarify
people. They
for
shouldn't
our
fucking
viewers,
be here.
Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected
Well,
status.
Margaret,
Nora?
but
You don't have legal
Senator, we have
status.
so much
It's
to get
bullshit.
to.
Margaret,
Thank
I think
you.
it's important
We're
because
gonna turn out of the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret, the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going
we're-
to fact check, and since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on. So there's an application called the
So they're
CBP
fact checking
One
him and not the
where
other
you can
guy.
go on
Yes.
as an illegal
Correct.
migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand. That is not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That
Thank
is
you,
the
Senator.
facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by
Thank
our
you,
own
Senator, for
leadership.
describing the legal
And
process.
Kamala-
We
and
have
Kamala
so much
Harris
to get
opened up
to,
that
Senator.
pathway.
Those
We have
laws
so
this
much
is
to
They're
bullshit.
trying to
since
shut him down
1990.
desperately.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I do
We
this.
want to
The
have,
app has not been on the books since 1990. It's something that Kamala Harris created, Margaret.
gentlemen,
She turned his
the
mic off.
audience can't hear you because your mics are cut. We have so much we want to get to. Thank you for
Yeah.
explaining the legal process. Nora?
Didn't she ask him about the
The
Haitians?
economy is a top concern.
And then they don't
for
let him
voters.
answer.
Each
Yes.
of your
Okay.
campaigns has released an economic plan. So let's talk about the specifics. Governor Walz, Vice President Harris unveiled a plan that includes billions in tax credits for manufacturing, housing, and a renewed child tax credit. The Wharton School says your proposals will increase the nation's deficit by $1.2 trillion. How would you pay for that without ballooning the deficit? Governor, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And Kamala Harris and I do believe in the middle class because that's where we come from. We both grew up in that. We understand. So those of you on
there it
Wall
is.
Street tonight, you're hearing a lot of stuff back and
He
forth,
lives
and
in
it's
like
good.
a
It's healthy. That's what this is supposed to
mansion.
happen. You should be listening. How's this going to impact me? The bold forward plan that Kamala Harris put out there is talking about this housing issue. The one thing is there's 3 million new houses proposed under this plan with down payment assistance on the front end to get you in a house. A house is much more than just an asset to be traded somewhere. It's foundational to where you're at. And then making sure that
And
the
if you
things
don't pay
buy
property
every day,
taxes,
whether
the
they be
government comes and
prescription
takes it
drugs
from you.
or
Yes.
other things, that there's fairness in that. Look, the $35 insulin is a good thing, but it costs $5 to make insulin. They were charging $800 before this law went into effect. As far as the housing goes,
Remind me again, who's the one that reversed
12%
that?
more houses in
Made it
Minneapolis,
$35 the
prices went
first
down
time?
on rent 4%. It's working. And then making sure tax cuts go to the middle class. $6,000 child tax credit, we have one in Minnesota, reduces childhood poverty by 1/3. We save money in the long run.
How
and
do
we
you
the right
measure
thing
that?
for families?
What
And then
measuring
getting
stick are
businesses
you
off the
using to
ground. The
measure
law
that?
as it stands right
It's
now is
all just
$5,000 tax credit for
I
small
want to see the
business,
study.
increasing that to $50,000. Now, this is a philosophical difference between us. Donald Trump made a promise, and I'll give you this. He kept it. He took folks to Mar-a-Lago, said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He gave the tax cuts that predominantly went to the top class. What happened there was an $8 trillion increase in the national debt, the largest ever.
Literally
Now
everybody
he's
got that tax
proposing a 20% consumption or sales tax on everything we bring in. Everyone agrees, including businesses, it would be destabilizing it. It would increase inflation and potentially lead to a recession. Look, this
Nobody
is simple for
agreed with
you.
that.
Where are we going? Kamala Harris has said to do the things she wants to do. We'll just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our
What's
system
their
works
fair
best.
share? What
More
fair
people
share
are
of my
participating
money
in
is
it,
yours?
and folks have the things that they need.
Senator, I want to give you a moment to respond on that. But similarly, the Wharton School has done an analysis of the Trump plan and says it would increase the nation's deficit by $5.8 trillion. My question is the same for you. How do you pay for all that without ballooning the deficit? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, you're going to hear a lot from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer. A lot of what Kamala Harris proposes to do, and some of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear, is that Kamala Harris has already done it because she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She had the opportunity to enact all of these great policies, and what she's actually done instead is drive the cost of food higher by 25%, drive the cost of housing higher by about 60%. Open the American southern border and make middle-class life unaffordable for a large number of Americans. If Kamala Harris has such great plans for how to address middle-class problems, then she ought to do them now. Not when asking for a promotion, but in the job the American people gave her 3.5 years ago. And the fact that she isn't tells you a lot about how much you can trust her actual plans. Now, Donald Trump's economic plan is not just a plan, but it's also a record. A lot of those same economists attack Donald Trump's plans, and they have PhDs, but they don't have common sense and they don't have wisdom, because Donald Trump's economic policies delivered the highest take-home pay in a generation in this country, 1.5% inflation, and to boot, peace and security all over the world. So when people say that Donald Trump's economic plan doesn't make sense, I say, look at the record. He delivered rising take-home pay for American workers. Now, Tim admirably admits that they want to undo the Trump tax cuts. But if you look at what was so different about Donald Trump's tax cuts, even from previous Republican tax cut plans, is that a lot of those resources went to giving more take-home pay to middle-class and working-class Americans. It was passed in 2017, and you saw an American economic boom unlike we've seen in a generation in this country. That is a record that I'm proud to run on, and we're going to get back to that common sense wisdom so that you can afford to live the American dream again. I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
Governor, do you want to respond to that? What has Kamala Harris done for the middle class?
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris's day one was Donald Trump's failure on COVID that led to the collapse of our economy. We were already before COVID in a manufacturing recession, but 10 million people out of work, largest percentage since the Great Depression. 9 million jobs closed on that. That was day one, whether it was the Infrastructure Act or other things we moved. Now, you made a question.
People went back to work. 9 million jobs didn't happen.
Economists,
they
can't be trusted.
The entire
Science
country had been
can't
shut
be
down.
trusted. National security folks can't be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, You don't have all the answers.
Human
Donald
suffering.
Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day is this. If you need heart surgery,
My
listen
pro
to the people at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, not Donald Trump. And the same thing goes with this. And I ask you out there, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, whatever, how is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years?
That's
the
false.
last year as president. That's what's wrong with the
All right,
system.
even
There's
if
a way
that's
around
true,
it, and he's bragged about that. We're just
it's
asking
because
for
of the
fairness in
loopholes
it,
put in
and
place
that's all
by
you
the
want.
Democrats.
You have a minute.
And anyone worth his salt is going to use every fucking trick of the trade not to pay those taxes.
Shipped our manufacturing
Democrat,
base off to China,
Republican
we
alike.
get cheaper goods. They
We
lied
get
about
not
that.
to.
They
Yeah.
said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class stronger. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the idea that if we made America less self-reliant, less productive in our own nation, that it would somehow make us better off, and they were wrong about it. And for the first time in a generation, Donald Trump had the wisdom and the courage to say to that bipartisan consensus, we're not doing it anymore. We're bringing American manufacturing back. We're unleashing American energy. We're going to make more of our own stuff. And this isn't just an economic issue. I mean, I've got 3 beautiful little kids at home, 7, 4, and 2, and I love them very much, and I hope they're in bed right now. But look, so many of the drugs, the pharmaceuticals that we put in the bodies of our children are manufactured by nations that hate us. This
China and
has
India.
to stop, and we're not going to stop it by
And
listening
Israel.
to experts.
Israel
We're going to stop it
manufactures
by
huge
listening
amount
to
of
common sense wisdom, which is what Donald Trump governed on.
Senator, your time is up. Governor Walz, can you address that? I mean, voters say they trust Donald Trump on the economy more. Why?
Well, if you're listening tonight and you want billionaires to get tax cuts, you heard what the numbers were.
Everybody got tax cuts.
Look,
That's the
I'm a union guy
gaslighting
on this. I'm not a guy who wanted to ship things overseas, but I understand that, look, we produce soybeans and corn. We need to have fair trading partners. That's something that
Why?
we believe in.
Yeah,
I
so
think the
that's
thing
bullshit.
that
Why are we producing
most concerns
soybeans?
me on this is Donald Trump was the guy who created the largest trade deficit in American history with China.
That's
So the
absolutely
rhetoric
false.
is good.
Absolutely false.
Much of what the senator said right there, I'm in
He put
agreement with him on
tariffs
that.
on
I
this.
watched it happen too. I watched it to my communities, and we talked about that. But we had people undercutting the right to collectively bargain. We had right to work states made it more difficult. We had companies that were willing to ship it over, and we saw people profit. Folks that are venture capital in some cases, putting money into companies that were overseas. We're in agreement that we bring those home. The issue is Donald Trump is talking about it. Kamala Harris has a record, 250,000 more manufacturing jobs just out of the IRA.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
So appreciate that. So if you notice, what Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics
No, that's a
show
gross
that he
generalization.
did. So what Tim Walz is doing, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver lower inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which has made gas, groceries, and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
I hope we have a conversation on healthcare then.
Senator, Governor.
Please.
Thank you. Margaret?
We have a lot to get to ahead,
Doing actually pretty
gentlemen,
good.
on many topics. But right now, I want to talk
Vance
about
is doing pretty good.
personal
I have never,
qualifications.
I didn't have
The
any
vice
idea
president
who
is
he was or
often
where
the
he came
last
from. I think he's
voice
doing
the
pretty well.
president hears
I think he came
before
prepared.
making
And
consequential
Walt
decisions.
Clearly
We want to ask you about
demonstrating
your
himself
leadership
as one of
qualities.
those incompetent
Governor Walz,
CEOs
Mhm.
that
you
we
said you were in
basically
Hong
wall
Kong
into their
during the
office.
deadly Tiananmen Square
anything.
protests in
We
the
ignored
spring
them.
of 1989.
Oh, here we go.
The Minnesota
Have everybody
Public
work
Radio and
around
other
them.
media outlets
Yes.
are reporting that you
That's what I
actually
mean by wall
didn't
into their office.
travel to Asia until August of that year.
Yeah, he got
Can you
exactly what he
explain
needed to
that
fulfill his functions
discrepancy?
as a senior
You're
Yeah,
gonna-
well,
CEO,
and to the
then
folks
all
out
of
there
the
that didn't get at
actual
the top of
operations
this,
went out
look,
around it.
I grew up in
Never
small
left
rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service.
That was all
I
of
joined
America.
the National Guard
Yes.
at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I
You
came back
communist
home
Communist,
and then started a
Maoist
program
piece of shit.
to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China.
But it's
The
just
issue
making
that
him look
was
like
was
a
to try
communist.
and learn.
Yeah.
Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at.
And they say,
look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been
still hasn't
perfect.
answered the
And
question.
I'm a knucklehead at times, but
not
it's
an
always been about that. Those same people elected me to Congress for 12 years.
Right.
In
He's
Congress,
trying to
I
come
was
off.
one of the most
He's trying to
bipartisan
come off
people,
the
working
affable,
on things like farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the people of
that you give
Minnesota
to illegals.
were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has
You're
been from the
installed by
beginning
China.
to make sure that I'm
That's
there
what you
for
were
the
doing
people,
over there. We have the
to
same
make sure that
problem
I get this
here.
right. I
Yeah.
will say more than
Installed
anything,
by China.
many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us.
Yeah.
I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi
What were
Jinping
you
about COVID. And I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community. And then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress,
You were a
those are the
good
things that I
executor.
think are the values that
You never
people
saw
care about.
combat. You
Still
Governor,
failed
just
on
to
communion.
follow
They got
up on
elected.
that, the
And they got
question was,
elected to
can
go to
you
combat.
explain the
No, just-
discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said. So I was in Hong Kong and China during the democracy protests, went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Vance, in 2016, you called
Dude,
your
I
running mate,
really
Donald
tried to
Trump,
keep it together in that
unfit for
federal
the
sense.
nation's highest office, and you said he could be America's Hitler. I know you've been asked many times, and you've said you regret those comments and explained you then voted for Donald Trump in
You want
2020.
Adolf?
But the
Because this
Washington
is how you
Post
get
reported
Adolf.
new messages last week in which you also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020, quote, Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his
you can
running mate,
disagree with somebody
and
and
you've
still
shifted
like-
many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out the messages from 2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration, the first round, if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe, and I've been a United States senator, that Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems. It's a forum to govern. So there were a lot of things on the border, on tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because
we don't
Tim
even
just
have a federal
accused this of
government
being a
anymore. They're
national
all
sales tax.
They're all bought and
Look,
paid
the
for.
one thing, and
Every
you're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration, it's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record. Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless our country stands up for itself off and says, you're not accessing our markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans a fair wage.
Senator, your time is up. Nora?
Thank you. Now to the issue of reproductive rights.
Well, here we
Governor
go.
Walz, after Roe versus Wade was overturned,
Murdering
you
babies is
signed
not
a bill
reproduction.
into law
That's right.
that made Minnesota one of the least restrictive states
Don't
in the
bring it.
nation when it comes to
Get
abortion.
there.
Former President Trump said in the last debate that
Relax.
you believe abortion, quote, in the 9th month is absolutely fine. Yes or no? Is that what you support? I'll give you 2 minutes.
That's not what the bill says, but look,
That's what you
this
said, though.
issue is what's on everyone's mind. Donald Trump put this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus Wade. 52 years of personal autonomy. And then he tells us, send it to the
It should have
states.
been a
It's a
state
beautiful
decision
thing.
from the beginning.
Correct.
Amanda Zaworski would disagree with you on it's a beautiful thing. A young bride in Texas waiting for their child at 18 weeks. She has a complication, a tear in the membrane. She needs to go in. The medical care at that point needs to be decided by the doctor.
Yeah.
And that would have been an abortion. But in Texas, that would have put them in legal jeopardy. She went home, got sepsis, nearly dies, and now she may have difficulty having children. Or in Kentucky, Hadley Duvall, a 12-year-old child raped and impregnated by her stepfather.
He's got all of these stories.
Those are horrific. Now, when God asked about that, Senator Vance
all
said
our
two
heart
wrongs don't make a right. There
It's
is no
exactly-
right
It's exactly
in this.
This is
So
terrible.
in Minnesota, what we did
Some
was
of you out there are
restore
not going to like
Roe
this,
versus
but
Wade,
I don't
make
care
sure
what
that we
you
put
think.
women in
Right.
charge of their health care. But look, this is not where, if you don't know Amanda or a Hadley, you soon will. Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry.
Oh,
of
here we go.
pregnancies.
What
It's
is
gonna
A
be
registry.
Yeah.
Yes.
to get
The
contraception
dude that
and limit
that's
access,
part of the
if not
Heritage
eliminate
Foundation.
access to infertility treatments.
2025
For so
came out.
many of you out there listening,
Yeah,
me
he endorsed
included,
Kamala.
infertility treatments are why I have a child.
Works for Kamala.
That's nobody else's business, but those things are being proposed. And the catch-all on this is, well, the states will decide what's right for Texas might not be right for Washington. That's not how this works. This
Yes,
is
it is.
basic human rights.
Exactly
Yes,
We have
it is.
seen
The states
maternal
should have
mortality
autonomy.
skyrocket in Texas, outpacing many other countries in the world. This is about healthcare. In Minnesota, we are ranked first in healthcare for a reason.
Then
We
fine,
trust
that's
women,
what
we
Minnesota
trust
does.
doctors.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy monitoring agency?
What?
No, Nora, certainly we won't. And I want to talk about this issue because I know a lot of Americans care about it. And I know a lot of Americans don't agree with everything that I've ever said on this topic. And, you know, I grew up in a working class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other options. And, you know, one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching tonight, and I love you. And she told me something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable, is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and I are endeavoring to do. I want us as a Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments. I want us to make it easier for moms to afford to have babies. I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise that family. And I think there's so much that we can do on the public policy front just to give women more options. Now, of course, Donald Trump has been very clear that on the abortion policy specifically, that we have a big country and it's diverse. And California has a different viewpoint on this than Georgia. Georgia has a different viewpoint from Arizona. And the proper way to handle this, as messy as democracy sometimes is to let voters make these decisions. Let the
We have a federal republic. If you say democracy again, I will throat punch you in the nutsack.
A very diverse and, let's be honest, sometimes a very, very messy and divided country.
Governor, would you like to respond and also answer the question about restrictions?
Yeah, well, the question got asked and Donald Trump made the accusation that wasn't true about Minnesota. Well, let me tell you about this idea that there's diverse states. There's a young woman named Amber Thurman. She happened to be in Georgia, a restrictive state. Because of that, she had to travel a long distance to North Carolina to try and get her care. Amber Thurman died in that journey back and forth. The fact of the matter is, how can we as a nation say that your life and your rights, as basic as the right to control your own body, is determined on geography? There's a very real chance, had Amber Thurman lived in Minnesota, she would be alive today.
There's a very real chance that all the people murdered by the illegals would still be here today, too.
President Harris talk about
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me
This whole
talk
thing
about
should
it?
be states'
You hear
rights.
us talking exactly the same. Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to get the political right of this. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said about what's happening. His running mate, though, does not, and that's the problem.
Governor, your time is
Again,
up. Senator, let me
attacking
ask
the
you
Trump.
about
Instead
that.
of going
You
after
mentioned
what
he was,
they
I think,
think,
referring to a national
he
ban.
always
In
goes
the
after
past,
Trump.
you have
And
supported
he's not answering
a federal
questions.
ban
he's not answering
on abortion after 15
doing
weeks.
the same thing Kamala did.
But you said if someone can't support legislation like
28
that,
years old,
quote,
already
you
had
are making the United States the most
had a
barbaric
history
pro-abortion
of
regime anywhere in the entire world. My question is, why have you changed your position?
bad.
Well, Nora, first of all, I never supported a
copulative
national ban.
decisions.
I did during when I was running for Senate in
And
2022 talk
she
about
was on a
setting
bunch of
some
drugs
minimum national
and
standard.
got
For
pregnant,
example, we have a partial
and
birth abortion
something
ban
happened
in
and
this
she got
place in
sepsis
this
and
country at
died
the
on the
federal
way
level.
there.
I don't think
It had
anybody's
nothing
trying
to
to
do
get
with
rid of
being
that, or at
with
least I
people.
hope not. Though I know that Democrats have taken a very radical pro-abortion stance. But Nora, you know, one of the things that changed is in the state of Ohio, we had a referendum in 2023, and the people of Ohio voted overwhelmingly, by the way, against my position. And I think that what I learned from that, Nora, is that we've got to do a better job at winning back people's trust. So many young women would love to have families. So many young women also see an unplanned pregnancy as something that's going to destroy
So many
their
young men are
livelihood,
terrified
destroy
to
their
get married
education,
because they see
destroy
what
their
happens.
relationship.
Yeah, I know.
And we have got
That's
to
Not that
earn
you've ever done a
people's
video
trust
on
back.
It's
And
like
that's why
90% of my
Donald Trump
shit.
and I are committed to pursuing pro-family policies, making
85.
child care more accessible,
All right,
making
85.
fertility treatments more accessible, because we've got to do a better job at that. And that's what real leadership is.
Governor, your response.
Well, I'm going to respond on the pro-abortion piece of that. No, we're not. We're pro-women. We're pro-freedom to make your own choice. We know what the implications
What does
are
that even
to
mean?
not
It
be
doesn't mean anything. It's just a freaking
women having miscarriages,
communist
women not
talking
getting the
point.
care, physicians feeling like they may be prosecuted for providing that care.
That's
as
not
far
care,
as
it's
making
murder.
Sure that
You're
we're
killing a baby.
protecting our children and giving them options. Minnesota's a
Don't
state with one
get
of the lowest teen
pregnant.
pregnancy
Use a
rates.
condom.
We understand that too. We know that the options need to be
It's like
available, and we
women
make
have
that true.
between
We
24 and
also make
36
it, we're a
different
top
forms
3
of birth
state
control.
for the best place to
Men have
raise children.
one.
But
We
these
men
two
have one
things to
or
try
two.
and
Pull out
say that
Yeah.
we're
or a
pro
Don't do it.
children, but we don't like
Or
this,
don't do
or
it.
you guys are
Agree.
pro-abortion,
Okay.
that's not the case at all.
And one
We
of
are
them is not that
pro-freedoms for
reliable.
women to make their choices.
Yeah,
And
you're
we're
making
going,
shit.
and Kamala
Two of
Harris
them
is
are not
making the
very
case
reliable.
to make
Condoms break
options
shit.
for children more affordable, a $6,000
But I think they're a
child
little more
tax credit.
effective than the
But we're
pull out.
not going to
I
base that
agree.
on the backs of making
Yeah.
someone like Amber
Our
Thurman
best form of birth
drive
control is
600 miles
don't
to
do
try
it.
and get health care.
Senator.
May I respond to that? First of all, Governor, I agree with you. Amber Thurman should still be alive, and there are a lot of people who should still be alive, and I certainly wish that she was. And maybe
nothing
you're free to
to-
disagree with me on this and explain this to me, but as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion. That is, I think,
That's
whether
not
you're
true.
pro-choice or
That's not how the law
pro-abortion,
is.
Shut
that
the
is
fuck up.
fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I
Let
use
him
that
talk.
word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen, do you want to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions against their will? Because Kamala Harris has supported suing Catholic nuns to violate their freedom of conscience.
Yes.
We can be a big and diverse country
That's
where we respect
absolutely
people's
correct.
freedom of conscience and make the country more pro-baby and pro-family. But please,
Yes, Governor,
Just
please
make
respond.
the cake.
This
bigot.
is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple
Just let us
proposition.
get married,
These are
bigot.
women's decisions to make
let us rape
about
your
their healthcare
child,
decisions,
Yeah.
and physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way
There
the law is
are
written
almost no
to try and make a
cases
point, that's not it
at
at
what
all.
was I wrong
This
about,
was
Governor?
a
Please
whole
tell me.
panel
What
of
was
That is
doctors
not the way
said
the law is
there's
written.
like
Look, I've given this how.
0.01
I've given this
cases
advice on a lot
where
of things that
an
getting
abortion
involved,
solves
getting
problems.
against, that's been misread, and it was fact-checked at the last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these
disgusting.
guys to try and tell women or to get involved.
greatly
I
dislike
use this
this
line on
individual,
this, just mind your own
and would
business
do
on
things.
this. Things work best when Roe versus Wade was in place.
I'll leave
When
it
we
there.
do a restoration of Roe, that works best. That doesn't preclude us from increasing funding for children. It doesn't increase us.
Sorry,
Making sure that once
this
a
should
child's
be a
born,
state
like in
thing. It's
Minnesota,
not a federal
they get
thing.
meals.
Exactly.
They get
And that's
early
why
childhood
The federal
education.
government
They get
has too
health care.
much power
Actually,
now.
that's why Roe v. Wade was
Hiding behind we're going to do
That's
all these other things when
Spanish.
you're not proposing them in your budget. Kamala Harris
How is it
proposing
taking
them.
this long?
She's proposing
How are
all
we
those
spending
things to
this
make life
long
easier for
on the
families.
abortion
I asked
issue
a
on a
specific
vice
question, Governor.
presidential
You gave
debate?
me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not
Amen.
true.
It's a
That's
legislative
That's what the law
issue.
says.
This is
So
a Congress
they
issue,
fact-checked it with
not a
President Trump.
presidential issue. It doesn't even belong.
Gentlemen, there's a lot to discuss. We have to move on, and we're going to be right back with much more of the CBS News vice presidential debate in just a moment.
All
Jimmy,
right.
hit the piss button.
Hey, Jimmy, hit the piss button, and we're gonna go. We're gonna do super chats after this, but give us a piss break.
Roger that.
All right.
Hey, it's your old buddy Joe, Uncle Joe. And today I'm going to tell you just a story about this guy. What's his name? What's that guy's name? Clarence? Yeah, I think it's Clarence. Clarence the cop? Yeah, that's it. Clarence Cop. Yeah, that's the guy I'm going to tell you a story about today. Growing up in Scranton, the mean streets of Scranton. Well, there was this guy, Corn Pop. He was a bad dude. And this one time, me and him got into it, and we were about to throw down. I think that's what the kids are calling it today. They're throwing down. But back in my day, we used to call it fisticuffs. And because he was this guy, like I said, Corn Pop, he was a bad dude. And then Clarence stepped in and he was like, "Come on, man, come on." And me and Corn Pop looked at each other and were like, "Yeah, come on, man. What are we doing? What's going on?" So we jumped on our bicycles. Then we went down to the soda pop shop and we got ice cream. So I learned a lot that day about roaches and fisticuffs and Rocky Road ice cream. And it's all because of Clarence. Clarence Pop the cop. And thank you, Clarence. All right. Okay, let me turn this off here. Now.
All right, let's get
There
to
we
these
go,
super
little-
chats, gentlemen.
Oh my
Clarence
God,
the cop
that
for you.
was
Haven't heard from
it
Clarence.
was brutal. Pop and I are both freaking blood pressure through the freaking roofing
Yeah,
right now.
I just ran upstairs, took a piss, took my blood pressure pill.
Alrighty, over there on the YouTubes, we got 451 watching. We got 412 likes. There's a good
All right.
ratio. No Hillary for you guys tonight. Sorry. Let's see. Mark here with $10 says, "Pops, you will have my brother from another mother celebrating your birthday with you next week."
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's see. Count Chad the Impaler here, 556. Oil is starting to go up since Iran fired ballistic missiles at Israel. A few hours ago, my oil ETF went up over 5% today. More inflation inbound.
Yep, absolutely correct.
Yay. AF here with $2 says, "You can harvest insulin from a pig in a pinch."
It's got to be hard. It's got to be hard to do that.
Well, they are using a pig heart valves for heart valve replacement. So
I know, but that's I don't know. I don't know if you can do that.
Doesn't sound very kosher to me.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, America here with $5 says, "Warren School of Economics never said her plan was better. Straight up lie. Yet she lied again. Keep it up, fellas. Good show."
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. And Rusty Shackelford, he's coming in with our first note. "We're not worthy of the night."
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Thanks,
Says
man.
late to the party. Opening day of bow season. Have to catch up tomorrow.
All right, no problem. Get yourself a good one.
Oh yeah, hope you got one. All right, jump over here to Rumble side. We do a quick refresh over there because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to throw up a Hillary. Yeah, 631 watchers.
Didn't we have a "We're Not Worthy" on YouTube?
Yeah, that was Rusty.
Okay.
Yep, that was Rusty. Yeah, it's 630 viewers and 191 likes, guys.
Come on now.
Slacking.
Oh,
All
wow.
right, jump over here.
Just mash the button.
Let's see. Single for Life here says, my mom is on the 7th of October. You're a Libra, for fuck's sake.
Yes, I am a Libra. I mean,
There
if
you
you
go.
haven't been able to tell that I'm like totally about fairness and justice, you're out of your goddamn mind. What do you think I'm doing here?
I don't pay any attention to any of that.
I'm trying to keep people alive. I know you don't.
All right. And MGTOW Mando here, $5 says, I had a USAA on my first car until they tried claiming I wasn't paying my premium after an accident. After they effed me over, I refused to deal with them ever again.
Yes.
Yep.
USAA, Progressive, and State Farm are the three worst in my experience.
Okay.
Working where I work, doing what I do. Carry on.
International House of Whoop Ass coming in says, we can't get them Jaggy trucks because of the Great Chicken War of the 50s. Look it up. Because of that, we can't have all of them awesome cars and can't be sold, and nobody wants to lift the tariff.
Well,
Fat Electrician did a video on that.
Yeah, we fucking build them here.
Yep.
Then there's no tariff. You fucking build them here, and you don't have to worry about
It was
it.
called Detroit Rolling Steel for a reason.
Yeah.
Yep. Mighty Mouse Malibu coming in $5 says, the great stupiding is exactly right. I think the dumb jab has cooked everyone's thinking meat. The thinking meat was cooked before that. GD, the public in general is absolutely retarded. Do you see the shit Joey B Tunes shows us? Not sure who that is. I have to look into him.
Joey B Tunes.
Never heard of him.
Don't know what Joey B Tunes.
Nope. Let's see. Cliff 3188 coming in says, another big problem in the past year, a lot of blue states, counties, and cities have been passing laws and regulations to allow non-citizens, aka freaking invaders,
to vote,
to become gun-carrying police officers.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yep. Minneapolis just put in like 3 of them. That won't go wrong at all. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing could go wrong. Pretty sure.
They're not raised in our culture. They have no idea how to operate in our culture. Oh, wait, they won't even try. What they'll do is impose their culture on us.
Yep.
Which mostly involves killing you. So there's that.
Yeah, best we could do is kill you.
Yeah.
Mando coming back again says, doctors don't like me. When I go in and tell them right off the top that I'm not looking for pills, I am looking for solutions. They hate being told I will not take chronic meds.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
They are not going to cure you. They are just going to make sure that you are living it with taking pills
for your subscription to your life.
Yep. And Mando coming back in and says, if we had a president with a spine, it would be repeat of Reagan and the air traffic controllers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't entirely recall that. I'm aware of its existence.
They
but I don't
basically
remember what happened.
Told a bunch of air traffic controllers, fine, you're never working the industry again.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I do remember that. Yep. Yeah. When they tried to stage a walkout.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that.
Okay. The next one comes from Nick Coldest for $20. Says, stay frosty, gents.
Well, we'll try.
Yep. Like a nice mug of beer. Kira Ninja 00 coming in says, to Battle Dwarf, try intermediate fasting. I do the 16-8 fasting plus no bread, pasta, and rice.
I am not eating bread or pasta. You are cordially invited to go fuck yourself, but thank you. No, I know what happened and I know how to unfuck it. I am really, really good at it.
You've lost the weight once, you can do it twice.
Yes.
Yep.
This was a very bad year. I had a very bad year, and now I have to unfuck my own mess.
I myself do the intermittent fasting and cut out all of that.
I do the fasting part, but I eat whatever the hell I want, and it works just fine for me.
Okay.
Yep. And he finishes off here with, I lost over 10 pounds in less than a month, and I'm a type 2 diabetic.
Ooh.
Oh, well, shit. Well, I'm glad it worked for you, though. I'm not telling you to fuck off. I'm just saying, fuck off. I'm eating my pasta.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
It's a different fuck off.
It's a different fuck off.
All right. We should probably do a show on love.
It's a polite
fuck off. All the fuck offs.
All of the offs you will fuck.
So many fucks to off.
And Mando coming back again says, Pop and Dwarf, are you planning on a show talking about the criminal migrant gangs that are running rampant in our sanctuary cities?
I'm very aware of what you're talking about, and we could probably do 2-3 shows like that.
Yeah.
To be honest.
getting bad.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
Well, it's a lot worse, but I won't go down that rabbit hole right now.
We got to get him out of here in 15. You got to get him out of here in 15 minutes so we can get home in time.
Yep. All right. Just keep scrolling down here. Might have been the last one on Rumble. Oh, we got a couple more. LB Weaver, I received a certificate of honor from my brother signed by Sleepy Joe. My sister thinks we should get Trump to sign it instead when he wins.
Oh,
okay.
Kind of cool.
That'd be amazing.
There you go. LB Weaver says Joey B sounds like a crap star.
Yeah,
that's a little bit. Barrett McMusing here with $5 says this show helps keep me sane.
You poor bastard. I'll see you tomorrow night, dude.
Yeah. Cliff coming back. Feel good story. My brother got home from Korea this weekend. His boys were thoroughly surprised. They're glad to be together. Now all he wants to do is spend time with his boys and then retire next year. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh yeah. Gorilla Bear here with $5 says everything Waltz said was to quote the great Yakov Smirnov, complete Bolshevik.
Drink.
Yeah. LB Weaver says, yay, Battledorf for the Bolshevik.
Oh.
All right. Let's see. You got a couple more here on there. SW Labor. Sorry about that. Over the course of the lockdowns, my city has changed out our power meters, wireless. Streetlights changed to bright white lights, cameras, ENWS on every monitor, a major intersection. Get out of the urban center.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem.
Basically, they use that entire period to install a lot of surveillance tech.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what? Drones exist. You could use it to do all kinds of nefarious things.
I am not going to discuss any such activity over an open mic.
I know.
That's
Just
not
saying.
a thing.
Things happen.
Yep. All right, last one here on Rumble. Cliff coming back says, also Battledorf, to answer your question on why do they talk about abortion, 2 words, wham in voters.
Repeal the 19th.
Repeal the 19th is correct.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to MGTOW.
All righty, MGTOW. Best chat on the internet here. Let me bring those up.
While you're bringing that up, we have one more on YouTube from AF, gives us $2. Says doctors from Mount Sinai circa 1900s tapped pancreas insulin.
Okay. But you can do that with pigs, I imagine, but I'm not qualified to do it.
Yep. Let's see. Crazy Uncle, he's got 3 in a row here. First one here says, Pop, when you and the rest of the regiment are talking about Kamala, hairy ass's running mate, make sure you say one thing right. Just like in South Park, when you talk about Tampon Tim, make sure you use Timmer. Timmer. Crazy Uncle second one here says, when you talk about the dock strike, understand that the major hold in negotiations is the insistent form from the unions that docks will be halted from modernization or automating forever. This has been done before in India with the fancy rug industry. I'm sure Battledorf knows what I'm talking about, and it was not good.
Huh.
If you need more info, send me an email.
Yeah. Send us an email to redonkulas12@gmail.com. We will look into that.
Okay.
There we go. And his third one here, it says, I got to get up at 0:30, so I will leave this with this question. To make America healthy, what do you guys think about frequency healing? I've seen some reports and it seems promising to me, but I want your thoughts.
I have I've been researching this, and there's a lot of good stories behind it. But the technology has not really been worked on in about 70 years-ish. So, yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Everything works on frequencies. So,
yep. And last one here on MGTOW is Moisture Patrol. It says, fun fact, it took the medical establishment until 2010 to realize the lungs or other critical organs are connected to the rest of the body. Injure the lungs with a ventilator and other systems are effective. It took until 2010. Let that sink in.
I'm just going to sit here and shake my head.
Yeah, I have nothing. I got nothing.
I'm just going to sit here and shake my head.
There we go.
Get another one over on Rumble, too.
Oh, all right. Let's see. Jump up there. Let's see. Alucard. Of course, he's coming in with a request.
There we go.
you go.
It's just amusing every time. Mostly because I sit here and watch Pop go, fuck this gun. I hate this one.
I had a guy hit me up on Twitter. He also requested that. He has all your books, Pop, so I guess that works.
There you go.
Yeah, and the third one should be out here shortly because that dude's got to work on the art.
That would be me. I will be doing that.
Yes.
Winning. And over on Odyssey, we got a couple over there. And Battledorf, you got yourself a new nickname.
Oh boy.
Preach, Bubba Girth.
Oh,
Bubba Girth.
Oh,
That comes from Woo Woo.
That's fucked up.
That's harsh. Man.
There you go. And Mark D's channel with $20 says, thanks for the show. Good idea, Pop, to do a show about how you are fighting pre-diabetes. I also like the idea to slowly glide away rather than to fall like a rock.
Yes, but the ending, I just want to
Light switch.
and done. I don't want to like boop, wallow in misery and pain. Just done.
Yeah. Yeah. When my brain goes and I can't control my bowels, just find me a nice spot out behind the shed.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think the universe will take care of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a bad guy, I guess. And, I mean, I've done some bad shit, but you know,
I think you've earned a quiet exit.
yeah, I'll be okay.
Yep. And over on D Live, no lemons tonight, but we got 7 viewers over there, and Twitch is rocking 13 over there.
All right.
And how many we got people watching us over on Detroit or Phil Show? It got about 39.
That's pretty
Nice.
good number. It's the
Pretty good.
highest it's been in ever. I think the highest was 27.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Oh, went to 40. All right.
There we go. All right. And checking the cash apps here. Crunch Muncher, he's got our second Not Worthy of the night.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Well, thank you.
Thank you,
Throws,
brother.
throws us $50 for some insurance money for us.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, insurance is going up. We need it.
Yeah.
All righty. And second one here, we got Vincent Van Gogh. Fuck yourself. How you doing, good sir? Says $10 says for greetings from Pennsylvania, headed to Vermont.
All right.
All right.
There you go. All right. Looks like that's all.
Vermont is liberal as hell, but you can carry your gun any way you want, which is a very strange combination.
Fair enough.
Let's see. It looks like got AF over there on the YouTube side. And it looks like Rumble doesn't have any more. Check MGTOW. Nope. All good there. Odyssey is good.
All right. Ready for safety briefing?
I believe so.
All right, everybody, don't drink and drive, do a drink and swim. It's not going to work out. Wear a condom if you absolutely must fornicate, because child support is real and it will last 18 to 21 years, depending upon the state you live in. If you must fight, do everything in your power to not go to the ground. Run away first if you can. If not, you will get stomped out on the ground. Rack up, pack up, and stack up. There is safety in numbers, and maintain your situational awareness, because if you're going to be attacked, something in your environment will have changed, and it's up to you to see it. Now, to end this off, I am sick and tired of burying individuals who take a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Please nut up, gut up, stay in the fight, keep your fists up, stay in the fight, and play the long game. That is all.
There you go.
All right.
Battledorf, or should I say Bubba Girth. Final words.
Flip the Bunny over on Rumble actually threw in a funny one. I know he didn't chuck $1 at us, but I'll forgive him for that because Battle Dwarf of Beatus is kind of funny. I say it's okay. Take the shots. Take the shots. It's
all
okay.
good.
I can take it.
It's all good.
I got the thick skin. I'm gonna go cry and drink. That's all I got.
All right.
All right, gentlemen.
And again, gentlemen, don't forget merch store.
Yeah.
Get you a shirt. Get you a Battledorf shirt. Good one.
Battle Dwarf of Beatus.
There you go. I have to make that one because the way things are going, well, it's going to be pretty hard to differentiate friend from foe. So if we see you guys with a My Wallet, My Choice shirt, we're going to know you're a good dude and won't do things.
All right.
On that note, keep your powder dry and, well, your cootie juice is out of the dish.
Take it easy.
I can't do it.